This season, I'm on a real ginger kick, and I found a way to combine that with two of my favorite things, coffee and meringue. Intrigued? Well, let's get baking. Today, I'm excited to make individual-sized gingerbread latte baked Alaskas. These are easier than you would think and will impress anyone with their rich flavor. This gingerbread cake that we're gonna make to go with our baked Alaskas is so soft, tender, and fluffy. I'm so excited to share it with you. We're gonna start with combining all of our dry ingredients first. So I have my standby here, my all-purpose gluten-free flour. We've got 2 cups, so let's put that in one bowl. And then we're going to add half a cup of almond flour. Put that right in there. So now the remainder of our dry ingredients that we're gonna use, I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum and half a teaspoon of sea salt. Just put that all right in there together. So next, the most important ingredient to get that spicy gingerbread flavoring, we've got 2 teaspoons of ground ginger powder. I have 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and then we just have half a teaspoon of ground cloves. Put that all in there. Let's just give these a little whisk before we add anything else. Grab my whisk here. Get it nice and combined. And that's it for the dry ingredients. Super easy. Pretty close to making gingerbread cookies. So let's put that aside because now we want to get our wet ingredients together in our stand mixer. All right, so for the wet ingredients, we're going to start with our butter. I've got half a cup of Earth Balance butter. I like the sticks. So usually 1 whole stick is a half cup. Let's just throw that right in. And let's give that a little quick beat so it gets nice and soft. Just for a little bit. All right, that's soft enough. Let's add our brown sugar. So I've got some brown sugar here that is 1 1/3 cup. Put that right in. Blend that. It's getting really crumbly and it looks like a crumble almost. That's fine because we're gonna get some more wet ingredients in there. Let's go ahead and add our 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, which I've already have portioned out here. Keep that going. Okay. Next we have our molasses, which is very important. I'm using this Wholesome brand molasses. It's a pretty good brand. It's really thick. It's organic, gluten-free, vegan. So it's perfect for this kind of bake, but any kind of store-bought molasses should work. Just make sure it's vegan and gluten-free if that's your preference. Let's get that in here. It's very thick, as I said. My goodness. Where rubber spatulas really come in handy. Scoop that all out. Okay. Let's get that mixed. It's got a really dark coloring. It smells really good. Let's get those sides cleaned up. All right, so we have a few more ingredients to add, but I just want you to see where we're at here. It's pretty thick still, so we need it to be a little more liquidy. So we have milk to add, and we have, instead of eggs, we're gonna do aquafaba. So I'll show you how we're gonna do that. I have 1 cup of almond milk. You could use any kind of plant milk, but this is the one I prefer. I'm gonna use 1 cup. I'm gonna put it over here in my pot and just get it warm. It doesn't need to be boiling. I just wanna get it a little warm because it's just straight out of the fridge and I want everything to combine. While we're warming up the milk, we're gonna get the aquafaba going. If you don't know what that is, it's the water that's in the can of the chickpeas. So we're gonna use 6 tablespoons, but we're not just gonna dump it in the batter. I wanna bring some air to it. So what I'm gonna use is my NutriBullet. If you don't have a NutriBullet, you can do the same technique, maybe using a blender. Just beat it with a hand blender if you have one. Honestly, if you just whisk it really fast with a hand whisk, you should get the same effect, but I like this because it's just more dramatic and I'm definitely gonna get a lot more air in here. So this is my 6 tablespoons of the water from the chickpeas. That's 6 tablespoons. And let's get this going in here. And it's gonna turn into a really interesting looking milk almost. Isn't that cool? So it just brings some air to it, makes it fluffier, and it just looks like it's milk. So you'll see when I pour it in. So let's get our KitchenAid back in here. And we're gonna dump that right in. It's so crazy looking, it's like frothy milk. Let's give that a nice little mix. Yeah, it just combines a lot better than if I just dumped the water right from the can in here. Let it go a little faster. Beautiful. Now let me go check on my milk. That's looking good. Again, I don't need it to be too hot. I think it's warm enough, so I'm gonna start off really slow. I'm just gonna pour it right in from the pot here, starting off slow. All right. Let me get the sides. It smells so good. Smells like the holidays. Now that is very liquidy, so let's just start right away and add in our dry ingredients. I'm gonna get a measuring cup to use so I'm not making so much of a mess. I'm just gonna put a little in at a time. It's about half. Let's get it going slowly. All right, let's get the rest in there. Okay, I'm gonna save that till the end. All right, add the remainder. Now I think we could just stir in the rest. Take this. I'm gonna take this off. Let's get it all stirred. So much batter here too. And you see how it's almost like expanding here. It's because of that air we whipped into that aquafaba. I really think brings some lightness to the batter. All right, there are some lumps in here though, so let's give it a few more whips with the whisk, and then we should be ready to move on. I'm gonna go fast here, because I really wanna get those lumps out. Yeah, that's looking good. All right, beautiful. Let's take a look. And that is what you want. Airy, thick, but not heavy. Our next step is to get these into the pan and get them baking. So what I'm using is one of my favorites. It's the silicone. tray. You can see I've used it quite a bit. Really good. It's non-stick for the most part, but I am a fanatic, so I'm going to put some more, I don't know what you want to call it, some guarantees that I'm going to not have anything sticking. So I'm going to use some oil here, just a little, just to go around. I mean, these cakes are very soft and gooey, so they will come out of here, but it might stick a little bit. Don't worry about that. And you don't have to use silicone. If you have some other muffin pans you want to use, that's totally fine too. But these are jumbo size, the ones I'm using. Okay, so now, again, just for a little extra insurance, I'm gonna put some parchment in there. Little square pieces. I might have to cut these a little bit to make sure they fit better. Let's just get a few going. They don't have to be round to fit the bottom. I just want something extra down there so that it doesn't stick. I've never had anything stick to a pan, so I'm on to something here. All right, so the pan is prepared. Let's get some of our batter in. I'm actually gonna use my measuring cup as a scoop. And I would say just fill this up about half, because this does really bake up pretty well. And we don't need all of that cake. I mean, keep in mind, we're making baked Alaska, so it's gonna be a layer of ice cream as well. So we want not too thick of a piece of cake. And honestly, we might end up just cutting these as well. We'll see how big they bake up. I have so much batter left, I could probably make 24 baked Alaskas, we'll see. But let's just bang this down, make sure it's even on the bottom. Okay, let's clean our top off here, because we don't want that burning. All right, and it looks good. So let's get this into the oven, and you want to bake these at 350 for about 45 minutes. Just check them maybe at the 30-minute mark to make sure they're not over baking. The cakes are ready out of the oven, and I'm just going to take the paper off that we had at the bottom, flip them over. They're still warm and soft. They smell so good. Perfect texture. They feel so light too. Yes, let you look at that little close up there. See how spongy it is? Okay. I'll probably cut these in half because for the baked Alaska, we don't want it to be this thick necessarily. So honestly, this will probably make 12 baked Alaskas if we cut them all in half. But before we get to that, let's let these cool. And while they're cooling, we're gonna make our meringue topping. If you haven't made meringue before, we're using aquafaba, which is the water in chickpeas, in the can of chickpeas, you're in for a treat because it is so fun to watch it just expand and become this fluffy, sweet, delicious, pillowy, marshmallowy, marshmallowy fluff. So I'm gonna use this can of garbanzo beans. And I'm not gonna open it up all the way because I'm just gonna get the liquid out. And I'm gonna do it just directly from the can using my measuring spoon. So let's get it in our stand mixer. You can use a regular hand mixer, but it does take time, so it can be a bit much to hold it in there if you don't have a stand mixer, but it is possible. So let's start here. 6 tablespoons all together. Okay, this is 5. We've got 1 more. All right, I'm just gonna get that right in there. And then our sugar, our organic white sugar, it's 1/2 cup. So let's put that right in there. We're also gonna need 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Let me open that up and get my measuring spoon. So 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. right in. And lastly, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And that's it. Let's get it going. Basically, this is just a waiting game. Just gonna let it go until it starts to foam up and get nice and fluffy. What I probably should have done was whisked my aquafaba first until it got nice and foamy, then added in the rest of the ingredients. This would have given me an even firmer and more stiff meringue. So if you can see in here, it's getting really thick and creamy. It's still very liquidy at this stage, but it's really starting to change already at this point. And it's been probably whisking for just a minute or so. It's not quite there yet, but I want to just stop and take a look, see where we're at. We're almost there. Let's take a look. The test is to make sure it's not falling. It's falling a little bit, so let's give it a few more minutes. You want it to be real stiff. Foam, like hard foam. Okay, another check. Oh, that's looking pretty good. Okay, we're gonna leave that in here for now because I'm gonna wanna whisk it again before I put it into a pastry bag. But while we're letting that set up a little bit more, let's get some ice cream and the cakes. Since this is a gingerbread latte baked Alaska, we want coffee flavor. So I'm gonna make it easy on myself by using coffee flavored ice cream. And there's so many good brands out there now of vegan, gluten-free ice cream, and this is one of those. Jenny's is a good brand. If you don't have Jenny's near you, So Delicious makes a cold brew that's really good. So many varieties. Just make sure it's the ice cream you like and that it's coffee flavor so that we get that latte feel. Look at that. So this is like almost like a cream swirl. So hopefully it's soft enough for me to start scooping out here, but let's talk about the molds. So for my baked Alaskas, I want to use these dome molds. And so we're going to fill these up with the ice cream, probably almost to the top because the cake part can just sit there a little bit on the bottom part. It's not a problem. But I got this on Amazon. You can get a mold like this probably at any kind of Michael's craft store. Order something online. You can even use a muffin tin if you like, or the ones that we cook the cakes in also work really well. So let's do our best and scoop out this delicious ice cream. We'll worry about smoothing it out later. Okay. I can smell the coffee. Use my spatula here and we're just gonna smooth it out a little, make sure it's covering the bottom because I want that rounded dome top. And it's okay if it melts a little bit because we're gonna put this back in the freezer anyway. As I'm squishing it down, it's getting nice and melty. So now while that's nice and melty and soft, let's push that forward here and let's get our cakes. So again, we don't need all of this cake on top. That's just a bit much. So I'm gonna cut them in half. Let's take this guy. And now also be able to see it inside. Oh my goodness, look at how, I mean, that's vegan and gluten-free and it looks so moist and so soft. And so all we're gonna do is just squeeze that on here. There you go. And I'm probably gonna use the top part of this so I can squeeze it in pretty easy. Look at that. Oops. Make sure you can see that all right. What's great about this cake too, it's so moist and it's so soft, but it works for this dessert because we're gonna freeze it. So that freezing will not ruin this cake. It won't dry it out. It's not gonna make it too crumbly because it's such a soft, tender cake that it really works for this baked Alaska dessert. All we have to do is get this in the freezer and wait for it to set up so we can put our meringue on it. That should only take about an hour. It shouldn't take any longer than that, especially this size is really small. So let's get that going. These are out of the freezer. Nice and set up and firm. You can see the cake on the bottom is completely stuck to our ice cream dome on the top. So cute. So I just have a few of these we'll start with. Let's do one for now. And then I'm gonna fill my pastry bag with that delicious meringue that we made. To me, this is like the really fun part because I don't really care what the design is as long as it's covering it, because once we toast it, it's just gonna look so cute. Let's put a little more in here. All right, let's get that down. It smells like marshmallow, so good. All right, so I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna just do my own little design here. I'm gonna go up. I think that looks cute. And I'm like, not afraid to build it up high in the center. Like, looks like a little Christmas tree. How cute does that look? Let's get those naked portions. Cute. Look at that. All that's left to do is give it a little toast. I've got a, God, what do you call these? Flamethrowers? Home flamethrowers, torches. And you're just gonna eyeball it and get it nice and toasty. Not too close because you want to keep the shapes and the designs that your point gives you, but you definitely want to get it nice and browned. Oh my goodness. It's like toasting marshmallows. How cute. I think all that's left is for us to add a little gingerbread man to this. How cute. Let's give it a taste. I'm just gonna go right in the center here so we can open them up. Look at that. Beautiful layers. A nice, thick, fluffy meringue, coffee ice cream, and our cake. Let's try it. That tastes like a gingerbread latte, but like better. So many different flavors going on. The meringue, it's like the whipped cream on top of your latte. The coffee flavor really comes through with that ice cream. And then of course you have the soft ginger cake at the bottom. So good. So that's it. Super easy dessert, super classy looking, perfect for any occasion, especially the holiday season. Let me know in the comments if you try this, and until next time, see ya.